So, I guess this is for assignment 4. I have to do an interview for my teaching journey. I guess that kind of comes at a little bit of a weird time. Um, I initially went into teaching with a lot of hope and excitement about kind of what the future holds. My thinking and my understanding of what I was getting into was very much informed by kind of what I had done as uni- as a university TA at the University of Saskatchewan, and a combination of lack of job prospects and kind of not knowing what I'm going to be doing with my future and wanting some job security kind of pushed me towards education. And I thought to myself, yeah, I like TA. I'm a good university lab instructor. Teaching should be, at least comparable. And the first 6 weeks of the fall were hard in a way that I did not expect. Um, Not only did I feel super old and outdated compared to my classmates, um, but I found that some of what I thought the expectations were going into this profession were not going to lend themselves to me being successful. And that's not to say that the expectations were difficult, but I am a relatively outspoken person. I have a lot of my opinions and thoughts are informed by fact and some different lived experiences. And I, for a while, felt like I was going to stick out like a sore thumb and probably at some point get myself fired. So there was a point, I think, where um, the content and the idea of me being a teacher wasn't super appealing anymore. And I think elements of what I was doing in the classes um, was to try and, I think part of what I wanted to do was to try and make people think. And I was resistant to kind of having the wool pulled over my eyes about the profession. Um, at least that's what it felt like in class. A lot of the times it felt very repetitive, and I was resistant to change my thinking because I didn't have a context in which changing it seemed appropriate. And then we go to our actual teaching practice days. And for me, that's at Campbell. And I found that not only was the context that I was learning how to be a teacher in different than what I'd kind of been led to believe in classes, but it was different entirely from um, the work that I had done at the university. So not only did I have now a completely unfounded opinion of what teaching should be, but I also now had a new I had a new outlook on what it could be. And while I don't necessarily support everything that the university is teaching in the education program, and I think a lot of current teachers would probably support my opinion on that, I do think there's more to be said for learning how to be human. And I think one of the best things that you can do, at least right now as a teacher, is to just present yourself as human. And despite what I think the policies behind being influential are, I think one of the best things that I can do for future students is to show myself as a flawed, albeit knowledgeable, but still flawed a human being. Um, so what does that mean for the future? Um, that I think is a good question. I think now I'm much more at ease with the prospect of being a teacher. Um, Initially, I think earlier in the semester, it scared the hell out of me. Partly because I didn't feel capable and wasn't really sure kind of where the line was. And kind of at the end of the semester now, after doing some teaching at Campbell and kind of recognizing where my strengths lie, I think I'm more at ease with being what I know will be kind of an unconventional teacher. I am opinionated, I am outspoken, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Um, I think I can have the backs of students, but I think it will probably land me in trouble with some administration down the road. I don't know what that looks like, but again, I think part of figuring out the teaching profession is just that, figuring it out. At least from the take that I've gotten from a variety of professors and practicing teachers, is that there's no real rule book to how to go about teaching. So I think the fact that I am unconventional, both in my personality and what I've done career wise, I think will help me better adapt to kind of a variety of circumstances and situations. Hopefully, it ends up being a promising career. I'm still kind of on the fence about it even now. So the uh, the flames, I guess, are flickering, as it were. Um, but I think the content and how to change your thinking towards a more progressive mindset has been helpful throughout the semester. So um, that's kind of been my teaching journey. It's not been that fast and furious flame I think that some people are drawn to teaching for. Initially it was, and now it's kind of more like a slow burn. But I think if I get to the end with that slow burn, it's going to be a lot more solid, and I'm going to have a much better understanding of like what I'm getting into and would be prepared to see it out for a long haul. So, thanks for listening.